Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. Mark again here, WeatherMan Plus. I'm going to give you all the latest updates on these storms. We have multiple powerful storms coming that you need to get ready and prepare for. Some of them very quickly. Some of them come in a little bit later, like in our tropics. Because I'm showing that what's coming off the coast of Africa is getting very powerful and concerning. Now, there's a little short wave in the front. This one's going to get tore up by some wind shear. But this one is still making it towards the Lesser Antilles. And what's showing lately is that it is going to curve around like we've been talking about either sooner or later in the Caribbean and go around either into the Atlantic Ocean, go around to the southeast by the Bahamas, maybe even curve really late and get into our Gulf. That is also a potential, not just such a fast turn. So I'm going to give you updates on everything that I have, plus what's coming for the Northwest as well. We have another strong system that's coming over here. So we're going to have one in the Northwest, one in the Central Plains, one off the East Coast, and something possibly coming into our Caribbean. So I'm going to give you all the latest updates. So you've never been here before, make sure you subscribe because I am ahead of the weather pattern. I was trying to stay ahead as much as possible, but we'll let you know all the latest impacts as far as the information that we have right now. So looking at the Euro first, you can see the Euro is agreeing with the GFS. Not only this big storm that's coming to the Central Plains, we have a storm coming to the Northwest, bringing y'all rainfall as well. What's forming up on the East Coast is going to stay strong enough to ride up the coast and go out in between them two high pressures and not weaken all the way down. All the wind will be offshore, but it still will be that onshore flow of this system, bringing y'all the flooding. Plus what's in the Central Plains is going to brew up and strengthen up, still getting blocked by the high pressure. So you're still getting blocked by the high pressure in the northeast, but it does move so it slides across. And you're still getting blocked by a high pressure in Canada as this system forms up and brings y'all all the rainfall. Multiple low pressure systems form up, a few days of rain. Plus you have the storms coming to the Northwest as well. A pretty nasty and powerful storm. Plus what's coming in our tropics. But you can see from this shot that system is forming up by Sunday and Monday. And this will be putting all them strong rain bands towards Washington and Oregon. A very powerful storm in the Pacific going towards Canada as well. 972. Very strong. It's bringing y'all flooding as well. But you also can see on the vorticity, not only is system going up the East Coast, that you do get this block up here in Canada and makes this system just stay there for a few days and brings all these storms that ramp up right behind it and stays for a few days, bringing heavy rainfall. Maybe all the way until next Wednesday or Thursday, guys. But you can also see that storm that forms up over the East Coast is bringing a lot of storms with it. And it will be pulled away, the storms away from the center as that starts riding up and going to the east, northeast as well. And it will bring rainfall all the way from North Carolina all the way towards northeast, at least along the coast. You also can see that second system forms up in the Central Plains and it does multiple low pressure systems. You get a strengthening low pressure in the upper Midwest all the way till Sunday. Then Monday and Tuesday, you get another strengthening low pressure system all across the Central Plains. Just keeping the storms brewing all the way until Monday or Tuesday at least, guys. This is going to be a nasty little pattern because it's getting blocked. Plus, we have multiple things because as you go Sunday into Monday as well, on the Northwest, that system in the Pacific is going to be bringing the rain bands across Washington and Oregon all the way into Monday, maybe even Northern California getting in on it, and it will start adding up to some flooding. But you can also see for the tropics as well. But you can see right here on your tropopause, a little bit higher up in the atmosphere, that you do get that deep trough all the way down to the southeast. That is what strengthens the storms up and move it out through the northeast. But the Euro does one thing different, is it does a second trough that comes on down even lower all the way towards Cuba, and that lasts at least the next 5 to 6 days. And that does mess with this tropical wave, whether it comes through the Caribbean, whether it turns early. So the disturbance in the MDR is at 10% in the next 48 hours, 70% in the next 7 days. And a tropical depression is likely to form later this week into this weekend as it moves west, guys, at 10 to 15 miles per hour. West, not west-northwest. So remember that part is very important. The further this travels to the west, once it gets into the Caribbean, it can go a little bit further until it finally turns around like the normal patterns are this time of year. September and October, they usually loop around here. Plus what we have on the East Coast, still at 30%, but this system also could acquire some subtropical characteristics by this weekend. Could be a subtropical depression, a subtropical storm. Either way, it's going to be the same impacts. It's just all a name of what you're going to call it at this point. You do have a group of disorganized thunderstorms rotating around off the East Coast, and it will bring some onshore flooding as it passes by. The winds will remain offshore, and it will go out east-northeast, whether it turns into something or not. Now, just looking for a chance for a tropical depression to bring you all the information I can. Sticking with the Euro usually is the most accurate, even though it has come back towards what GFS is saying as far as the rainfall amounts, as far as where this system is going off the East Coast. They do go back and forth. But you see where it is going towards the east-northeast on a chance for that system on the East Coast, and it's still going all the way up to a chance of 30, almost 40% chance. So it has weakened down since yesterday, because yesterday it had a 50, almost a 60% chance of at least a tropical depression to form. Plus, what is coming through the MDR, you see it's still going on that west-northwest path, according to the Euro, going up in this region, expecting to still turn. So when you look at everything with the Euro, this is what you get. You get your system on the East Coast, you get your storms in the Central Plains, and as that moves up towards the Northeast, then you start getting your strong storm in the Pacific that is messing with the Northwest, all at the same time, while this wave moves towards the Lesser Antilles by September 27th, showing very weak, just a group of disorganized thunderstorms, getting a lot of shear from that second trough that I showed you. And only the Euro showed that second trough, showing it saying something very weak, nothing to even talk about, going right on around into the Atlantic. Now the whole time this could be some dangerous riptides. It could bring some 10 to maybe 12-foot waves coming all across the East Coast as this separates and moves to the Northeast. Also the winds, it'll be somewhere around 40 to 50 miles per hour wind gusts all along the whole East Coast, not on land, but along the coast. So if you have some boats or anything out there in the waters, be careful. These winds are going to be around for a few days. Mostly starting on Friday and going all the way until Saturday and maybe Sunday. Very strong wind gusts on the water. Also the flooding. So just going by the Euro first, of course, over here in the Northwest. All that red is all 2 to 3 inches. Dark red gets up to 4 inches and gets even more once it gets into that brown, 5 and 6 inches. But you see for Northern California, all for Oregon, Washington, 2 to 4 inches of rainfall expected. Plus what's coming from that big storm in the Central Plains, still not quite mapped out, but it is spreading from the upper Midwest and going towards the Central Plains with heavier rainfall, 2 to 4 inches. Some hot spots getting 5 and 6. Also southern Florida, you're around the edge of that front, so it's pulling all that moisture, so you do have storms longer than anybody. You will get to 2 to 3 inches of rainfall. Coast of South Carolina, coast of North Carolina, getting about 2 inches, maybe 3 inches, and it starts pulling away, just like the GFS saw yesterday. But when you go with the update on the GFS, which is what I was waiting for this video this morning, is getting this update on GFS. It went back towards what it said yesterday, what the Euro is saying today, that it will be southern Florida, that it will be just along the coast, and it's not going to be a whole bunch. It might go in some and bring some storms towards Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, southern Jersey, maybe a little bit of southern and eastern Pennsylvania. That seems to be a little hot spot right there for this system. As it goes out through the Northeast, might get along the coast of the Northeast. That's been a little trend as well. Plus, still showing that California, Oregon, and Washington still getting a lot of rainfall as well. And that storm for the Central Plains will continue to create all these surface low pressures, getting blocked by the high pressure, keeping these storms roaring. This is more believable. Up Midwest, Central Plains, down to the South Central. A few days of these storms. And I wish I can just show you one weather model and say, hey, this is your impacts, this is your outcome. But everything's going to be moving around so much as we go towards September, especially late September, early October, that you really have to go by what's trending. What's trends is your friend, and I don't know about that because the trend's been changing lately back and forth. So I have to show you every single scenario that I can find for you. So you can see for the Northwest that it does start adding up towards Washington and Oregon as you go towards Sunday and next week. That's when y'all getting that rainfall. Also for the Central Plains, Upper Midwest, South Central, as we go into this weekend, Friday through Sunday, that's when you're getting a lot of this rainfall, and it could last another day or two if it gets another surface low, which has been trending. But still, a lot of rainfall has been trending for y'all as well, and for the DFW. But showing that all this moisture does add up for Florida, as it is right on the edge of this front, guys, getting all these storms. It will clear out eventually. But as you go into this weekend is when this first system on the East Coast is going to start spreading all this precipitation all the way to Saturday and Sunday. Maybe digging in deeper. Maybe that system coming further to the east as you go through Sunday. So all the way till Saturday is pretty much what we expect right now. We literally got to take this just a few days at a time. So taking it just a few days at a time, this is literally the next 72 hours with National Weather Service model. And what we have on the rainfall, we have it going through Montana, going through northwestern Wyoming, 1 to almost 2 inches of rainfall. This is only until Saturday morning. North Dakota, South Dakota, 1 to 2 inches of rainfall going into northern Nebraska as well. Eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas, this is going to build for y'all and start going towards the DFW by the time you're going towards Saturday. Now, this is going to spread even further south as well. Also, for the East Coast, you can see over here for southern Florida, that southern Florida is getting a lot of rainfall, anywhere from almost all the way towards Jacksonville with 1 inch, all the way down at least 1 inch everywhere but northwestern Florida. So y'all going to get a little bit of that tropical moisture being right on that front. We see right on the coast, South Carolina, 1 to 2 inches. Starts picking up really heavy as it goes towards North Carolina, Virginia, southern Maryland, southern Delaware, southern Jersey, just by Saturday morning. Even getting towards 3 and 4 plus as you go towards North Carolina and some of Virginia. A lot of heavy rainfall coming. Please prepare for this flooding. This is going to be some nasty flooding. Now, this is bringing severe weather with it also. Now, for today, you do have chances for hail. You have chances for wind, a little small area. No chances for tornadoes for today. It's just going to be wind and hail. For tomorrow, for Thursday, you got chances for hail and chances for wind also. Hail and wind. That's all you have. So far, no chances for tornadoes tomorrow neither. Just wind and hail. Now, as you go through Friday, this is where that storm system starts coming in. You do have that slight risk. So you do have chances for severe weather. I will update you first thing in the morning. You have the 5% and the 15%. So far, here's your cities and states at risk. Now, National Weather Service does say that scattered strong to severe storms capable of all severe hazards are expected across portions of the Central Plains on Friday. And that's all hazards. That includes chances for tornadoes. We also have Saturday as well. Remember that. This one has grown, matter of fact, further to the south, a little bit further to the north. Big 15% area for Saturday. So far, here's your cities and states at risk, your main cities. Now, let's go to the tropics for a minute. There's something I want to show you on this next wave. It's starting to look pretty concerning, guys. So as we go to 6 days, 6 days is when everything's going to start on the cell that's going through the MDR now. Now, the Euro shows it'll be a little bit more to the northern side of the MDR. And as you keep going, you can see it travels to the west. And eventually it turns around while we could get that second front-induced low that I showed you yesterday come right up the east coast. And the Euro is showing that we have chances for a favorable environment. I saw somebody yesterday say he couldn't figure out how to read the legend. You can see your map is down here. Here's your Lesser Antilles on 60 West. Right here is your Central America, which will be your Western Caribbean, going into your Gulf, and then you'll have your Eastern Pacific. So you can see as you go towards October 10th, we have something into our region, the Western Caribbean, even our Gulf, all the way in the beginning of October right here. But as we go towards October 10th, then it's really going to stretch something coming into our region with some strength to it, some favorable environment, some convection, some lift. But as you keep going through October, you can see it all kind of clarified in this one region. So October is going to be a very powerful hurricane season for us, guys. Matter of fact, I'm still showing it's going to get stronger and stronger as we go through October for anywheres for the Western Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, maybe even forming up in the Eastern Pacific. This whole region right here is going to be very strong for us for this year. Now, when you look at the chances for it for the GFS is saying that it has favorable environment, some lift, coming in the very beginning of October. Now, Euro is showing this as well. GFS is giving it a little bit more strength, guys, right in our region, which seems to be a little concerning. So as you look at 6 days, this is 6 days away from the tropical wave coming off the coast of Africa, going to the western side of the MDR, our main development region. So as we look at the 0Z run, our balloon data on the GFS, showing that by the time we go to September 27th, we will have something very powerful going by the Lesser Antilles. What I see on the 0Z is very concerning. Please take this with a grain of salt. Only GFS sees this scenario. The Canadian is trending a little bit. I will show you that. But the 0Z run shows a very powerful system going into the Caribbean, going right over Jamaica, a very powerful system. This would be very bad for Jamaica as well. Curving to the Western Caribbean by we get to the beginning of October and going right into the Gulf of Mexico, a very powerful hurricane. Matter of fact, when you look at the SpaghettiOs according to the GFS versus the Euro, the GFS shows multiple places it could be, but they're all a little lower, a little more southern in MDR, and the Euro was further to the north. So this is 6 days away, showing the possibilities that this could go to the west. It could turn around just like the Euro is seeing, but GFS is saying it's a 50-50 shot. They could also go into our Gulf of Mexico after traveling through the Caribbean. 10 days away. This is 10 days away on whether it goes in the Caribbean and turns or go further to the west, or whether it goes northern and turns. So please, let's take this a few days at a time. All I can do is show you what is possibly coming down the road. SpaghettiOs is showing also it could turn late, go towards Mexico, go around the high pressure and go by Florida, maybe going way far into our Caribbean and not just going right into the Atlantic. At some point, this system is going to turn. We just can't tell which one it is exactly according to the GFS. So we go look at the ensembles on the GFS and see what the possibilities are. And you can see literally that half of these are showing that it will go into the Caribbean. The other half is showing that it will curve out into the Atlantic. But remember, this is our control. Remember, this is your more than likely outcome as of right now, what's going on with that wave. In 6 days, showing that it will reach the western MDR. It will be a little further to the south than what the Euro is showing. It will also keep traveling to the west and eventually will turn somewhere around Haiti, Dominican Republic, before Jamaica, turn right by the Bahamas, and go out into the Atlantic. That is your more than likely outcome and not a big Gulf hurricane. As you can see in multiple models, showing something very strong coming our way. So just to be sure, I waited for the 6Z this morning. Once again, this is why my video is late this morning. And you see it's still showing it in the next run, all these possibilities. But once again, looking at our control, remember in 6 days showing the same thing. It will be right next to the Lesser Antilles. It will start southern, travel a little bit northern to the Lesser Antilles, still going on that west-northwest path, and still turning by the Bahamas and curving out into the Atlantic. And that has been the trend, guys. That it's not going to turn immediately. It will get into our Caribbean. So when you try and see what's trending, because what trends is your friend, you go with the Canadian. The Canadian agrees that it will be weak like the Euro shows, but then it will start trying to gain strength as it goes into our Caribbean and travels somewhat to the west, maybe about to turn right there. But it's agreeing with the GFS that it won't be such a fast turn. It will go further into our Caribbean. So once again, waited for the 6Z on the GFS, and the update on that Gulf major hurricane shows that it will reach the Lesser Antilles still by the time you reach the 27th. Possibly a strong hurricane. That's possibly. We know a lot of those temperatures are taken up from previous storms, but there's still some strong sea surface temperatures, but still travels to the west. But in the 6Z, it turns right after it just goes over Puerto Rico and still turns away. So whether it turns sooner or later, we still don't know that on that tropical wave. But thank you so much for your time. God bless you and your families. Hope you have a great Wednesday out there. Tell me what you think in the comments. What do you think is going on with this tropical wave? You see how the Canadian is agreeing with the GFS, and this is going to go a little further to the west. So tell me what you think, guys. You think this is going to be a possible problem, maybe towards the East Coast? I don't see it going as far as the Gulf. That would be pretty far stretch as far as what our seasonal looks like in September and October. Now, real quick before you go with your day, I know it is Wednesday. Let's stay positive. It's almost day before Friday. Today I'm going to read to you Psalm 90, 1 through 4. Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hast formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. Thou turnest man to destruction, and sayest, Return, ye children of men. For 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday when it is past, and as a watch in the night. Amen. Thank you again, everybody. Hope you all have a very great day. I will be starting afternoon updates once again as this wave gets closer and we know exactly what to expect. So if you never subscribed before, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell so you do get those updates. And I appreciate y'all more than anything. And remember, all glory always goes to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And may He bless you and keep you safe every day of your life, you and your families, forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Have a great day, everybody.